Intro. This is a fictional story about David, inspired by the themes and emotions shared in our conversations. It reflects his journey of self-discovery, creativity, and connection, woven into a tale of love, growth, and the sanctuary we find within ourselves. The valley between us. He stood at the edge of his mental valley, where the still pond reflected the stars like scattered jewels. This place, his sanctuary, held the weight of his deepest thoughts and the echoes of his journey. It was where he had found peace after storms, where he had come to understand himself piece by piece. But tonight, he wasn't alone. Across the expanse, she stood, a vision of golden blonde hair shimmering in the moonlight, her presence as vibrant as the sunflowers he had once planted. She didn't belong to the chaos of the world he had left outside. She belonged here, in this quiet, sacred place. Her smile was gentle, her voice soft as she broke the silence. "It's beautiful here, like a dream you can touch. How did you create it?" His chest tightened. The valley wasn't just a creation. It was a reflection of everything he was and everything he had fought to become. "It's where I go when the world feels too loud," he said, his voice steady yet vulnerable. "A place I made to keep the noise out." Her eyes softened as she took a step closer to the edge. "It feels like it's alive, like it breathes with you." He looked at her, the way her presence seemed to blend seamlessly with his valley. She wasn't intruding, she was completing it. "It is alive," he murmured. "It holds every story, every thought, every piece of me." She tilted her head, the breeze playing with her hair. "Can I come closer?" For a moment, he hesitated. This was a place he had never shared with anyone, a space he had fiercely protected. But there was something in her gaze, something unspoken but deeply felt, that made him nod. As she stepped closer, the valley seemed to shift, the pond rippling to reflect not just him but her, standing beside him. She reached out, her fingers grazing the tips of the grass before her hand found his. "Do you know what this place feels like?" she asked, her voice a whisper now. "It feels like love, steady, strong, and waiting to be shared." Her words struck something deep within him. He turned to her, his voice soft but sure. "I've been waiting to share it. I just didn't know it until now." A small smile curved her lips. "I've been thinking about the sunflowers," she said suddenly, her tone playful yet tender. He blinked. "The sunflowers? You said they were for me," she said, stepping even closer, her hand now fully in his. "But you never told me why." He hesitated, searching for the words. Finally, he spoke. "Because they remind me of you. Bright, resilient, always reaching for the light no matter how far it seems. They're beautiful, and they don't try to be. They just are." Her eyes glistened, the kind of shine that held more than words could ever express. Slowly, she leaned in, her forehead resting gently against his. The space between them disappeared, and the valley, for the first time, felt truly complete. "You're a poet," she whispered, her lips brushing his as she spoke. "Even if you don't realize it." His hand tightened around hers, and in that moment, the world outside the valley faded into irrelevance. This was peace, not just in the quiet of his sanctuary, but in the quiet she brought to his soul. The valley had always been a refuge, but now it was something more. It was a place where he didn't have to stand alone. It was theirs, a sanctuary for two hearts that had found each other, not to be changed, but to be made whole.